Hey, we are live. I'd like to welcome you. The audio is going to be a little tricky for me today because I just recently switched a few things around in my studio, and I'm trying to see how delayed this thing is. We're 20 seconds in. I was running, so I feel sound. There it is. Okay. Okay. So about 20 seconds or 10 seconds delayed on this thing, but it's fine. Um, yeah, I'd like to welcome you all to the studio. I am currently working. My studio is in my garage, and the neighbors are blasting music. So I apologize. I apologize if you can hear the music. You're also going to hear some creaking sounds. It is California. We're currently experiencing the Santa Ana winds, and the garage just keeps moving back and forth, back and forth. So you'll hear some creaking. You might hear some loud music being blasted in the background, or some cars being revved up because the neighbors are working on their ATVs. I think you can hear all kinds of noises, but try your best to focus on my voice. If you can hear it. Oh, I think you can hear it. I just heard it. I'm gonna turn up the volume just a tiny little bit here so I can hear myself. All right, cool. So today I'm going to talk to you all about different journaling styles. I've been journaling with this notebook in the last couple of months, actually, since October 12th was the first one that I created here. Um, Chad every day, my new homeboy, the homie, the friend over in Virginia. Shout out Chad every day. If you all have not checked out his channel, definitely check out his channel. I've gained a lot of insight into how he journals, and I do the Bruce Lee thing. We take from everyone. So open mic poetry. If it just popped up on the pictures, I can't stay long. We're about to start an open mic poetry. Cool. All right. Well, good luck with that, man. I appreciate you dropping by just to say. It's not that afterwards. Yeah. Um, so we're just gonna talk about how I've been journaling the last couple of days, but I'm gonna be talking about that while I create more reading for my traveler's notebook, which is look at this. We built this in October and it's held on, man. It's tearing here at the edges. Somebody said I should tape it, but I like feeling the cardboard for some reason. I don't want to feel plastic. So I don't know. I might do that for my next one, but no, this is just definitely this was an experiment to see how long it would last me, and it's lasted. Hope you're doing well. Wish you could stay for the whole live. But my wife, yeah, we wouldn't want that. It's probably if it's cold here in California, it's definitely cold in Virginia. Erica is in the house, literally in the house, in the living room next in the next room over. She's watching. So let's talk about this. And let's talk about journaling in general. There are many different styles, and which one is best for you? I'm just gonna, you know, get it over with now. Pull the band-aid off. The best one for you is the one that works for you. And in order for you to know which one works for you, you pretty much have to try several. It's just like food, like how do you know which food is your favorite unless you try many different types of food for you to decide, right? You don't just try one and say, "Wow, this is the best." You try different styles and say, "Oh, okay, I like this other one," right? And like my friend Chad, I really love Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's probably the greatest human being that ever walked this earth. Some people who are religious right now are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm talking about in the journaling world, okay? Um, um, he took from multiple practices, from multiple disciplines, and he took the best from all of them to create his own unique style. A style without a style is what he would call it. And so this is practically what I've done. I'm going to show you a few inserts of a few things that I've journaled about, entries, I should say. I'm not going to share too much because I have made book one available on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon partner, you can go over to the Patreon channel. I'll link it in the description below after the video because I don't think I've linked it yet. But you can go check this out, and you'll see this entire book uncensored on there. You do have to become a member or a supporter, in order for you to see it. But I think this alone would probably be incredibly insightful to you. I'm not going to show you this book today because, well, what's the point of having it on Patreon if we're going to gain access to it here? But I will give you previews for sure. Um, and the purpose with that is just so you can see how it is that I'm using this book, in hopes that you'll take little things from it, and you feel free to ask me questions about it too in the thread in the post. Just say, hey Leo, page um, 3 or on the page on this page, you drew a pizza. Why? I can tell you. I could give you more insight as into my thought process behind why I documented in this way, and why that was important to me. But yeah, let's get started. Let's make some refills. Show you what I used refills here. This is the paper that I used to make my refills with. Oh, Chad, thank you so much, man, for the super sticker. You're the first one to do that. So thank you for getting that appreciated and that started off the channel. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so this paper I bought during the back to school sales that they had in Walmart. It's Pen and Gear, not sponsored at all. But I went with this because it's cardstock, and I love cardstock. One of the journals that I've been using that I bought from Michaels has cardstock paper. It's meant for sketching, and that's what I was using it for. But then I saw that my journaling style is more than just writing with pens. Sometimes I like messing around with inks. Sometimes I like drawing something. Sometimes I want a marker and just mark the page with something, sketch something. And I wanted a piece of paper that could handle all inks, or most things, I should say, and that could, be that wouldn't show through, right? Like book 1, I read regular print paper, you can kind of see a little bit on the other side, not really, but this is much more lighter paper. Actually no, I lie. I took pieces of paper from that notebook that I was just mentioning, and it's much thinner than this. I think it might have been like 50 something pound paper. This is 67, so it's a little thicker. I would even go as thick as 75, but I wouldn't be able to use more than maybe 3 sheets at a time because then the book would be like really bulky. And some of the notebooks that I've made, I'm sorry about that. Some of the notebooks that I've made um, do have more than 3 pages, and I noticed that I think 3 is a good number of sheets to fold and having this thickness. And I'll go into more details to why I only have such few notebooks. I'm sorry, few sheets. Okay, I don't want to have 48 sheets in one paper. I want to have, anywhere between 18 to 24 sheets if I can, or pages, I should say, uh, per. So I use cardstock. Cardstock is my favorite. You can use whatever you want. I prefer this one. If all you're doing is writing with pen, then I would recommend going lighter. You just print your paper, and if that's all you have, then use that. That's the most important. If that's all you have, then use that. So I've used this paper from Walmart, right? And then I have these papers that I got at Michaels. This is cardstock, 65 pound as well, but this is colored. So I use this for the covers. See, this is this color, and I like when they have the sheets because it's sometimes they have like a fall or blue colors or red or black and white, and they have multiple shades. And I like using them because it's for crafting. Here are the different types of colors that this one has. I have a few pieces of orange, and I love this orange. I prefer this orange over this. I'm not a big fan of this canary yellow looking one, but I do use darker shades of yellow. And then there's this one, which I really love. It's like it almost reminds me of construction paper or crafting paper, I should say. It's like that. That paper that they use at the English word, just it's the butcher shops, right, where they'll wrap up a piece of beef. It reminds me of that. Butcher paper. Butcher paper. Oh, that's what it's called. It reminds me of that. So today we're going to make a few out of these. And the reason why we're making these today is because every once in a while I'm in a big rush to make a refill, and so I rush it. And the last one that I made, I rushed I rushed, and it's like it's cut crooked, and it's much smaller, a little bit smaller than the other book, and that's because I rushed it. But I want to make a few ahead of time. This way, I have a few that I can use and not have to rush them. And whenever I'm running out of space, I just pluck that out and I do it and make. I'm sorry, continue journaling. So if you just joined us, we're talking about journaling, but we're also making some refills for my traveler's notebook. So if you would please just join the live chat. Just you know, just tell us where you're watching from. You don't have to introduce yourself if you don't like, but just say, "Hey, I'm watching from." You're watching from around the world, so we can greet you and welcome you to familia. That's what we are here. We're a familia. Spanish word for family. If it's okay with you, we'd like to learn. I can teach you some Spanish too as a secondary thing to our channel. Okay, so here's what I usually do. Okay, what I do is I take three of these sheets, just three. One, two, three. Okay, I set the rest of them aside for now. Set them aside, and then I take the sheet that I'm going to use as a cover. And by the way, this is thinner, a lot thinner than the other sheets, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that. And I join them all together like so. Okay. Then I can either fold one in half now and cut it, and then I have a reference for half, but I've already cut one that I keep here just so I don't keep doing that process over and over and over again. This is what I faster is I put this one to the edge here. Okay. And it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And if you are concerned that you're going to be off somehow, you can go to Walmart, not Walmart, Home Depot. Home Depot sells these little clips for about 67 cents or something like that. And I just buy a bunch of them. We use them all around the house for a lot of different things. And you can use them to seal potato chips or your curtains, move your curtains to the side, pinch them. You can use them for crafting like I am right here now. And then rather than cutting with scissors, what I do is I use my ruler, which is a Westcott ruler. I like this because it has the rubber grip here and it allows me to really hold it down um, really, really close. I don't know my last percent, but I'm sorry. Um, and then what I do is I line up this sheet close to this, and you're welcome to make these at home. To go to the store and buy them. And I know that I just ruined my chances of being sponsored by some kind of company that does notebooks. But hey, I'm here to help you, not these other companies. So what I like to do is I like to just use the ruler and press up against it lightly so that it doesn't move on me. And as you can see, not it didn't cut all the way through. So again, I'm not pushing into the ruler. I'm just using it to guide my X-Acto knife. And if you don't have a knife, definitely get one. They're extremely helpful. If not, you could just do it the old way and use your scissors. All right. It doesn't really matter that these edges are not straight or not cut, evenly and it doesn't matter because I'm going to end up um, trimming the sides anyway. So it's okay if they're not, if if the yellow is farther or one is farther than the other. It doesn't matter. Okay? At this point, it doesn't matter. I am going to use some tools here that we got. Ivan Romero, what's up, man? Welcome back. And we also have Avery from Mississippi. Thank you so much. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the live chat. And so once I have these six sheets together and the cover, what I like to do, what I used to do was fold each one at a time, and then get and staple. You totally do that if you want. What I've done is I've purchased one of these staplers. Comes extremely handy. And what I used to do before is I would fold this sheet in half. In fact, let me show you. I fold one of them in half. Right? And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not going for perfect here because this is going to be. See, it's off slightly. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's off slightly. It's okay. It's okay that they're crooked. Okay, go easy on yourself. And then what I do is I unfold it and I try to make sure that the teeth are gonna bite right there. As you can see, I'm way off. I'm off a little bit. So this little tab right here makes it so that you press up against it, and that's your measuring. That's how you measure it, right? See what I'm saying? Okay. So right there, I think I'm closer, but not quite. So I just keep adjusting that section until it's close enough. Okay. Just a little bit more. And you just got to know your stapler. But this stapler has a little groove. This little groove right here. It's like an indentation, that little groove, and much where it might. So I try my best to align that sheet right there so that this line lines up with that groove. I'm still off just a tiny bit, as you can see. Okay. So am I? Yeah, I'm just off just a tiny little bit more. So I'm just gonna shift it over just a little bit. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm only showing you this way just in case you want it to be perfect. Or like if you really want it to be right there, right on that, then go for it. Like you can adjust it to your heart is content. And there it is. It just bit right there, right in the center. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sheets of paper here and I'm gonna bite this right here just so that they don't move. Okay. I could do this freehand, but I choose this way so that none of them shift over just to, in any way. And it's important that you not do what I was just about to do. Do you want the teeth to be on the inside, not on the outside? Because then you're going to cut yourself or you're going to, tear into your traveler's journal. So you want it to be upside down like this. Okay. Usually I would say three staples, but lately I've just been doing two and I find that two is good. I'm not measuring anything. You can if you like. If you're that type of person that really likes to have everything, really well measured, go for it. Do that. I really don't care because these are important. I'm not saying that my journal is not important. It really is important to me, but it's not so important to where I'm going to be a perfectionist about it because these are for me. If I were selling these or if I were making them for someone else, I would definitely take my time and make sure that everything's aligned so that, and then maybe more because I don't know if they're going to be. I know how I'm going to use it. My notebook is going to be protected by this notebook, and so I don't think I have to run a risk of these staples getting torn up. As you can see, I've been carrying this one since December 30th in here, right? So since December 30th, which is what 11 days ago, more or less. I mean, 11 days ago, and look at the condition that it's in. It's in fine condition because this is protecting it. It doesn't have to be a fancy leather. It doesn't have to be really anything. It could be anything you want just to protect your journals. Because this notebook is done. Once I'm done with this one, this one's going to take its place, and this one's going to be gone, right? And look, these went through the exact same journal. Some took me longer days to fill, and others I I filled quicker. And well, it's perfectly fine, right? And look, this is probably the one that stayed on here. Thank you, Ivan. This is probably the one that has stayed in here the longest. And like, yeah, it has a little bit of damage up here, but this is because also this one sticks out a little bit lot more. Yeah, as you can see, it sticks out a little bit more. And so yeah, it's gonna be beat up by my pocket. Trust me, I take this in and out of my pocket so many times, not just to journal, but because if I'm sitting in the car, I take it out because it's in there, so I take it out. And you can tell where it's damaging the most. This is my experimental notebook, and as you can see, this was my first one. I took a little more time to make this one, and I even made it so that it gets sealed, but then I noticed it was damaging that, and then I wanted to make something that will seal it. I noticed I don't need it. I really don't need it. It's this is perfectly fine. And then don't worry, I am gonna make a video on how to make these again, just for those of you who want to know how to make them. Uh, the goal with this is with this style of journaling is that I'm going to take these. Originally, I was going to remove the staples and then altogether into one notebook. But I think what I'm going to do, quicker or faster, is to have them in another traveler's journal or traveler's notebook and keep them all together this way, so that this is all practically all the journals for October. I'm not dividing them or organizing them in any way. If I had another one, I'd just put 4 or 5 together. But here they are together in this way. Let's see. There is a slightly different statement that has a groove that naturally has a like full. Oh, cool. When you paper, paper, paper just naturally falls. So you don't have to mess around with getting the page. Oh, nice. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to look into that for sure. But this is the goal. Obviously, make it longer, a little longer, so they all sit here and put this on a shelf. And now I know label it somehow. And I'll know that this is for October. And when I'm reviewing my notes, I just go back and know, okay, from this day to this day, this is from this day to this day. All right. So continuing on, as you can see, it did staple it right there in the center, right? If you don't have that stapler, you use a piece of wood or something and just use your stapler like this, because it's not going to fit all the way in unless you're making smaller notebooks. But you can always, bring this up, and staple it this way, and then just take some kind of tool to, if it didn't act too much, and there you have it. You have your notebook, or another way of stapling it like this. Um, so then what I do is I just take this and fold it. And what's important is that I fold it so that the staples are right on the edge there. Looking for perfect, as you can see. I'm just folding. It's okay that it looks this way. We're going to trim the edges anyway, because I need to trim this down to that size. I prefer that size. I like the field note size. If I had started this in that size, maybe I would keep it that way. But I know that this size of traveler's notebook is the perfect size for all of it. For my jacket pockets, for my pant pockets, and everything else that I wear. So, oh no, I don't have any gate. I don't have anything. I think this thing is automatic doing that. Echo cancellation, auto adjust mic volume. I'm gonna cancel that. Let me know how that sounds, okay? I just clicked on something, but let me know. Let me know if that works. All right, so I'm just making that, right? But going back to the best journaling style or journaling system, it's a system that works for you. Your needs are different than mine, and so we're gonna approach journaling differently. We're gonna journal for different reasons. Oops, sorry. Um, so you just have to figure out what your needs are. If you're going to be um, logging everything because you want to track, I don't know, your diet, sleep cycle, and all that. Okay, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Um, if you're going to be tracking your meals and all that, fine. You have bullet journaling to do that with. If you have a to-do list, a very particular to-do list, and you want to keep on, you know, you want to keep on track, then yeah, bullet journaling might be for you. But what I've noticed about the bullet journaling, I'm not knocking it in any way. It's just that these different types of journaling systems, they're designed for the way that people think. The creator, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the creator of the bullet journal system just had a hard time staying focused, and he couldn't. What was it? He couldn't focus the way that everybody else focused, so he created a system that allowed him to focus that way. And so he created a system that allowed him to keep track of everything in the way that he thought, in the way that he thinks. I don't know how you think. I can't tell you, hey, this system is better for you if you're not the type of person that thinks in that way. Does that make sense? Like you might have a different way of looking at the world, and so I suggest that you look at it with the color blue, and you and you see it in red. Then blue thinking is not for you. And I think this is where a lot of people don't realize that we don't all think the same. We don't all see the same thing the same. There are people chunk chunk big, for example, and others who chunk small. What do I mean by that? You'll have a person, let's just say you have two different people who are experiencing the same thing. They both went through the same experience. They both went through the same, let's just say tragedy. Let's just say that their house burned down. Well, one person is going to see it as life changing and terrible, and it is terrible. The other will see it as an opportunity to start fresh and start all over. One could look at it in a negative light, and the other can look at it as in a positive light. It's the same event, so why can two people look at the same event differently and take from it something different? And it's because of the way that they think. It's the way that they perceive. It's the way that they look at the world that keeps them um, that makes it that they see the world in that way. So the same, it's no different with journaling. If I'm gonna just document, what I do every day, then that's system for that. But if I look at things in a more broader way, and I'm more than just one thing, what am I gonna do? For example, I'm a musician. I am a designer. I like crafting. I have a job. I am a father. I am a son. I have projects at home. I have a bunch of different things. Am I going to keep a different journal for each thing that I do? I don't think so. By the way, yeah, my I plan on mushing this and making my own paper. So these are going in a bag down here. Chad, man, thank you so much. Welcome. I appreciate you joining. You ever junk journal? Um, I've not dyed any papers. That's the plan. That's what I want to do with those papers. Junk journal. Yes, I have junk journaled, and I think that's what I'm doing here, on a smaller scale, and to a lower degree as well. A lot of the things that I'm taking here come from junk journal. Like in my other notebook, I was making pockets, right, for different things, and so here, for example, I experimented with adding a different type of paper in the edges here so that I could practice my handwriting and font and lettering and stuff, right? Because my lettering was getting crazy. It was getting out of hand. I couldn't even understand my own writing. So I started practicing different phrases so I could write better. I add photos, like my mom's delicious pozole that she made. I had it 5 times in 2 days. I'm practicing, you know, uh, typography, my handwriting, sketching. So it's a little bit more of a freestyle of journaling. And I have, drawing sketches of things that I want to do, or just random sketching someone's eye or Starbucks building. Uh, yeah, I'm a person. I'm the type of person that sometimes I'm interested in one thing and then I'm interested in a different thing, and I cannot have different journals because I can't take the time to say, "Oh, I need to look for that journal so I can write about this." Everything goes down in all these journals, and I'm they used to scare me because Leonardo da Vinci, that's how he journaled. So it scared me to think about journaling in a way that I'm not gonna know how to find those those entries. That would scare me. And so once I tried it, after like a week or two, I'm like, oh, okay, I see. This is perfect for me because I'm not a straightforward type of thinker. I'm a tree thinker. Uh, but I'm still there's still a branch. There's still a trunk, but sometimes my attention is like, oh, guitar, oh, drawing, oh, woodworking, oh, designing something, oh, sketching, oh, human behavior. And I want to write about all these things in one simple little system that isn't that I'm not stressing over organization. It's all organized like it's organized in my head. I thought that I had to have something external that was organized differently from what it was organized in my head, and that's for me at least, that's wrong. It's wrong, and here's why. Look, I'll give you an example. My dog during during uh, New Year's, people were shooting fireworks and guns. Don't do that. Fireworks, fine, maybe if your area allows it, but in our area, it's not allowed. But there were fireworks, and I have a little. He has like a kennel in our garage. Usually, I'll leave the door open so he can go in and out of his little cage. And he got so scared that he pushed through a little gate that I had just attached. It wasn't really attached to anything. It was just a little gate, just showing him the illusion of like this is the limit of where you can go into the garage. And he respected that for months, but he pushed through it, came into the garage, and then just started peeing everywhere. And I don't necessarily want him to do that. So I designed a wooden gate that I'm going to make with a door. And while I was, what was I doing this time? Let's see, Saturday the 3rd. Um, I don't know, it would have been like doing DoorDash when I and waiting for an order while I was designing this. And I thought, okay, how else am I going to design? And then I journaled. The next day, I thought, okay, these are the measurements, right? And then I thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't drill the bits this way. I should only drill them this way. And I just, it's a developing idea. I didn't go just building it. I'm developing the idea in my head, and I get to see the process. And not just that, now I'm learning how to make the gate by documenting the process of how I imagined it to begin with. And then the question of how I'm going to attach it to the wall. Okay, well, there needs to be a piece that goes to the wall out that way. I can connect it to the wall this way, connect it to the wall that way. And how am I going to make it, you know, it can't be one piece. It has to be three pieces so that that door opens up so we can access that area as well. So problem solving. Does that make sense? So I I really just um, I really just am using this for anything that I'm interested in at any given moment. For example, I'm a guitarist. I've been playing for years. My grandfather taught me since I was 14. I played in groups and I had my own band, and I never took the guitar as seriously as I should have. So now here I decided that I'm going to memorize the guitar, which I've never done. I know my chords and I know how to play it, but I don't know what I'm playing as far as the individual notes themselves. So I decided that I'm going to do, learn how to, I'm going to memorize all my fretboard. So here I am on Sunday the 4th, starting to write down. Actually, it happened somewhere else over here or before December ended, and it's something that a few days later I'm still trying to memorize. Right, I'm trying my best not to move forward until here, like here it is again, and I'm just trying to memorize. I'm trying to learn Italian, and I'm using AI to teach me how to speak Italian. And here are some phrases that I learned. Um, it's all here. I don't have an Italian book. I don't have a guitar book. I don't have a woodworking book. It's all here. Plus, I'm scanning them, so I'll know where everything is. And if I really need to separate them or organize them, I can always transfer those images to a digital version so that when I'm out in the street, I don't have to carry my notebook. I can always access my files remotely. I'm not against uh, AI or digital coming into my system because it has to be a system that works for me. It can't just be a system that works in general. It has to mold itself to my way of thinking and my way of seeing the world. Otherwise, what's the point of having a journal if it's going to be stressful, if it's going to be, that's how people end up quitting their journal because it becomes something stressful. This is not stressful to me. I take my journal with me and I'm not forced to journal, anything in here. There's one where I wrote the date, but I never finished. I didn't even do an entry that day. And that's okay. I was busy. I was really busy. And the next day, I might just say, "Hey, yesterday was a busy day. This happened." It's flexible. It should be flexible to you. Um, Thank you for sharing that. Okay, cool. On Discord, if anybody's interested in that stapler, definitely join us on Discord. That's awesome. That's my jam. Stunning. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And so again, try different systems. But first, before you try it, I don't know. You guys can this. I want this to be a conversation back and forth. Okay, I'm not like a teacher here. I'm not like I don't know everything about it. Um, all I know is what I've experienced, and so if it works for you, then perfect. If it doesn't, that's fine too. That's fine too. Um, but let's have a back and forth here. What do you think? How's your approach? What is your approach? Because I have I'm I've journaled for so long that I can confidently tell you that if you want to find the journaling style that fits for you, try asking yourself first what you want to get out of it. Can anybody agree with that? Like, what do I want out about journaling? Maybe you're the type of person who you don't even know why you want to journal. You just heard people say you should journal, but why? Why? Oh, it's because it's mental clarity and all that stuff. But what if you don't want mental clarity? What if everything's good in your life, right? And I'm not saying that we don't all not that there are people out here who don't have problems, mental issues, right? Or things that are troubling you mentally or emotionally or spiritually or physically. But but there are people who just don't who have had a good life. I'm not hating. If you're the type of person who had a good life, you had good parents, you didn't have any childhood trauma, you've never experienced, anxiety or panic attacks. If you're that type of person, good, great for you. And then maybe that type of journaling isn't for you. Whatever it is that they're offering, maybe that's not for you. But what if you just want to get organized? Time management, maybe journaling could be for you. But then you might think, okay, but I thought journaling was supposed to, be for mental clarity. No, no, journaling can be many things. It's like a car. A car is not designed just to take you to work, right? A car is not designed just to go to the grocery store, but it allows you the opportunity to use it for whatever it is that you need to use it for. Maybe it's just so that you can take your kids to school, right? But before you buy a car, you have to justify whether or not you need a car, right? Because some of you take a bus and you're like, okay, that's cool. Like I don't need a car. I take the bus. But then you have children and you have to get one to the daycare and the other to school, and you can't take buses to that, or you can, but you notice that you're going to be late to work. So then you say, okay, maybe a car is worth having. Maybe you need extra money, and so a car could become useful if you can do things like DoorDash or anything like that. The same thing goes for journaling. Why you start journaling depends on what your needs are. I need a car to get to work, so I buy a car to get into work. I need a car for social status, and you buy a car for social status. You get what I'm saying? So it's different for everyone. It's totally different for everyone. Uh, so the important question here is, why do I want to journal? Why do I need to journal? What do I want to get out of it? And for me, I could just share my personal experience. I started journaling because I had really bad panic attacks. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I grew up with a stepdad who was violent, to say the least, and he was being aggressive with my mother, and I tried to put a stop to it, and um, he chased me into my room, and I had a surprise for him in the room that I didn't follow through with because I didn't want to uh, endure my mother, but I was in a position where I was like, do I take action and put a stop to this with the potential that he's going to get revenge or do something worse, or do I just chill and do nothing and let the chips fall where they may? Thankfully, he didn't do anything to me. He just punched my door and he walked out. And I didn't know what to do with all that pent up energy that I had. I didn't know what to do with all of that emotion that I had, and all that courage that I had built just to stand up to him. And I had my first panic attack. I didn't know what to do. My face got tingly, my arms stiff tightened up, my chest was feeling tight, I was breathing like crazy, and it was so scary that I scared him. I scared him sober even, I think. And he came up to me and he grabbed me and I couldn't even move. I was just stuck and breathing. And he was like, "You wanted to hit me, didn't you?" He's like, "Go ahead, hit me. Come on, hit me." He just wanted me to release that. I think he knew what was going on. And then I just started to relax and I melted, you know, in his arms. And he got in his car and left. And I share that with you to let you know that I went through something tough that my brain didn't know how to process. I didn't know what to do with that. And then what happened is that I would have these little episodes where I would wake up in the middle of the night, anxious and nervous about nothing. It just like I just started to see danger everywhere, and any little thing would make me worry in exaggeration. I would worry in exaggeration, and I did not like that. So I started. I knew that therapy, for me at least, being raised where I was out of the question. There's no way my mom was gonna take me to go see a therapist, to help me with that. So I had to help myself. It was me. I had to if I was gonna overcome this thing, it was up to me, or I'm going to forever be a victim of this thing, and it was gonna take over every aspect of my life. And when I started noticing that it was taking over every aspect of my life, which means I was afraid to go to work. I was over worried about what if, you've had the what if, right? What if syndrome is what I remember journaling about. Um, I grabbed a steno pad because that's all I had at the time, and I started saying, "Okay, what's going on?" Just as an outside observer, what's happening here? I'm panicking. Why? Because I'm scared. Why? Because I feel like something's threatening me. Okay, is there something threatening you? Well, no. Okay, so does it make sense that you panic when there's nothing, actually threatening you? And the answer, of course, was no. It didn't make sense. I said, okay, so what can we do? And then I decided to do something about it. I looked into personal development, and I came across Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, and you know, who else? All these other motivational speakers, and they were talking about changing your life, awakening the giant within you, getting control and understanding that your brain needs certainty and uncertainty, and then that introduced me to NLP, and NLP is just completely life changing because I was able to reprogram my way of thinking and understand my brain and my thinking style and my patterns and my behavior and all that until the point that I didn't have any more panic attacks. And I think I have journaling to thank for that because I was able to write down what I was experiencing, how I was seeing the thing, asking myself questions like, what would I need to do not to think that anymore? And little by little, I started helping myself out, reading the right things, looking into the right things, and it was a beautiful thing in my life, and then once I had everything in quote unquote order, I let it go. I let journaling go, but then, life got hard and I went back to it and I noticed that that was something that I just kept going back over and over and over again. And I tried all kinds of stuff, like just freestyle journaling and bullet journaling. I got into doing all those beautiful spreads, but I didn't have the time to, so I had to find something else. And that's when I started the channel here, I started getting more and more interested in how Leonardo da Vinci would take his notes and how he would journal. And man, that was life changing. And then I saw somebody here said interstitial journaling. Let's see, I'm a junk journal maker, so I do it all. My current jam is the composition notebook and create paper, all local people, and I dye each page to prep the book. I journal for joy and organization. See, that's another beautiful thing. See, if you're a creative person, then the process of making your own books is therapeutic. It's enjoyable, right? Maybe you're not a creative person, so buying a book, that's okay. Go buy a book, one that's already made for you. But I enjoy this process, and when I'm working on this, I made all of this. Well, not this, but I made all of this. And also, by the way, my field notes journal. is see, I had this since the 26th of October. This one is where I'm starting to write things to improve my vocabulary. So I will write notes on or words that I hear in movies and shows and podcasts, and I use AI to help me understand the word, not just give me a definition, but understand the word, where it came from, how to use it, how it. I give it examples of how it was used in the show or a movie, and it'll say, yeah, the character was probably trying to convey this, so that I'm using the word, but not just using like morose is one word that I just recently learned, so that I'm not just using the word because oh, it's a new word, I'm going to use it. I want to understand it so that when I apply it, when I use it, it is a word that uh, is being used accurately, right? Morose led me to prudent, which led me to rumination. And I might even take a word like triage, which I already knew what triage meant, but it was used for like prioritizing emails. And I'm like, okay, how are they using the word? So then I rewrote it. It doesn't matter if I already know the word or not. I just want to understand it on a deeper level, right? And this is my, it's everything. Everything is in here. It's not limited to, oh, this is my art journal. This is my thinking journal, my planning, my to-do list. It's everything, including interstitial journaling, because there are some pages here. Let me show you. There's a page. There's a day where I was busy and I had a lot of things that I needed to do, and so the whole day was practically interstitial journaling. Right here, Wednesday the 7th. All these are just interstitial notes, and you already know that I write in like a shorthand that I made up. I didn't make it up, but I made my own symbols and keywords that I understand. And so like leaving, going, work, going to, pick up, delivery, things that I do often, I created that, and write quotes on here, all kinds of stuff. Um, but again, in order for you to discover which of which style works for you, you have to try everything. You have to know who you are first. I'm an artist. I like drawing. I like to work with paper and cut, and I like stickers and all that. Then junk journaling is probably your go-to. There are people who have journals that all they do is just they have like a hole puncher, like that's like a square, which I love, by the way. It's a square, and what you do is you go around, and let's just say that you like this abuelita, and you take your puncher and you punch out just the picture, and then you glue it to your journal. You're just collecting little things that you like, the little things that make you happy. And if that makes you happy, why not? Why not do it? It's something that you enjoy doing. Do it. Let's just say that you enjoy calligraphy. Yeah, sorry, it's my first time cussing. Explore calligraphy. Why not? It's your life. It's your journal. It's how you're making sense of the world. It's how you interact with the world, and your journal should be that. It shouldn't be somebody else's formula applied to your life that doesn't fit your way of thinking and the things that you are interested in. And maybe you're not. Maybe you're a minimalist. Maybe you like things very plain and simple. So maybe carrying a a, a pouch with pens in it isn't your thing. So pick one pen and write minimally. Figure out a way of keeping your things organized. And maybe you are organized. So keep multiple journals, whatever you want. There are no rules. I think what I'm hoping to do is show you there are no rules. If you have a traveler's journal and everybody's saying a traveler's journal is doing this, this, that, and then you're like you're journaling in your traveler's notebook, and somebody goes, "Oh, well, technically now you're not journaling in the traveler's. Technically now you're junk journaling." No, no, it is what you want it to be because that's what works for you, right? And trust me, I've even tried it. Watch, I'm gonna show you what my wallet has. Okay, hopefully I'm not gonna show you any credit card information, but in my see, I carry another notebook which has my all my symbols, and I'll probably scan this and make it available on Patreon as well. But my notebook has a little bit of cash. Back here in the back, I have this. See this, right? You want to guess what this is? Before I tell you, who wants to guess what this is? I'll let you all guess first, and then I'll tell you. Go ahead. Enter into the live chat what you think that is, what I use this for, and then I'll tell you how I made it. I might have spoken about it before. What do you think that is? Let's see. Let me take a look at the notes. Let's see. I recently explored interstitial journal. Yeah, I want to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so remind me. That is a crazy experience, and I know exactly how you felt, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm glad journaling helped. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really glad that happened to me. That really molded me and changed me, and really made me the person that I am today. And I'm glad to be the person that I am today, even though some people might not like it. Um, I love thinking outside the box. I love thinking about things in a different way, in a detailed way. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with that stuff. I think, yeah, just get obsessed. I think that's a good word for it too. I love playing around with different things to make journals. I made a journal cover out of a potato sack. Oh, cool. Most recently, I love how it came out, and that's what matters. As some people might say, like, really, you used a potato sack? Why? They don't. They just don't understand. They don't understand the pleasure. Looks like a template. They don't understand the pleasure that we get from creating things with the materials that we find in our surrounding. It's just it makes us happy. Let us be happy, right? um, let me find something here. So, yes, it is a template. Um, like I said, people had a puncher that they were using and taking, things like wrappers and things that they liked. And so I didn't have a puncher. I looked into the punchers and they were 20 bucks. So what I decided was I took an old what is it, like a key card, an Access key card. Erica and I went to excuse me, we went to Laughlin, I believe it was. And you know how they give you that card, the key card to go into your hotel? I brought it and I didn't have any use for it. And so instead of throwing it away, I decided to just cut a square hole in it. And now I can find something that I really like. For example, let's just say that I like the expression of the sun here, and I could go in here and see, take a pencil, outline it, take the good old scissors. Here we go. Right now I have that. I don't have a puncher, but I have that. Right. So now I'm going to go here. Let's do this live. Now I'm going to go here. Just I just journaled about something this morning, and I'm going to take glue. And I have a pouch, right? So I can, if I'm out on the street, I can just put that in a special little. Here, let me show you. In my pouch, I have this bag where I'm collecting things, and so I can put it in there when I get home. I could take that out and watch this. I just glue this on here. Okay, I'm gonna glue it on there, and then I'm gonna take my pens because I have several pens that I carry with me, and I'll show you how I use them. Right? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I speak out. I'm not talking directly into the mic, so the volume goes low. Sorry. Um, so then I glue it on here, and I take my marker, which is a chisel pen. This is a Elegant Writer is the brand, and it's a chisel. I believe this is a 2, 2.0, I think. And I'll write the time. So right now the time is 15:55, and I go with military time because if I write something at 7:30 instead of writing PM or AM, I just write in military time, and I know that it was in the afternoon instead of all that. So, and if you want to know the secret to figure out what time 15 is, just remove 2 from that. So it's 355. 355. So remove the one, but subtract 2 from that. Some people say subtract 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. So there's that, right? Or you can do it the reverse, right? So now I've done that. I write the time that I cut it and put it, and then I take my other pen, or actually I'll take a red pen if I want it to stand out. I'll go YT live, right? So that it stands out when I'm reviewing my notes. And then I'll write something like, you know, cut this out. Oh, I put two R's during a YouTube live session as an example, right? And I might just separate it from that so I know that it's a different entry. And now it's in here. And now you guys are a part of my journal entry today. So now when I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I was showing an example of how I cut something and, give an example of that. So imagine you're out in the store and you like, a logo or something, you cut it, you come back, you glue it on here and you write something. Why did you like that logo? Why did that expression stand out to me? It looks peaceful. It reminded me of, to be at to relax and to do yoga or meditation, whatever it may be. But you can make your own little tools. That's what I love about junk journaling too, and journaling in general is that you can do whatever you want. And if you don't have a tool, yeah, you can buy the tool, but you can also find joy in creating something. What's the difference? I mean, yeah, the puncher might be straight and quicker, but now I'm engaged with the material, with the thing that I'm cutting, and now I can, you know, frame it, see what it's gonna look like instead of putting it through the machine and not knowing. Or I guess it does have a window, but now I can really frame it, and cut out whatever it is that I want, like that spider. If I wanted to, boom, center it, trace it, and cut it. Takes me a little more time, but now I'm engaged with the material, right? So, okay, so just as an example, okay, baby, thank you. Um, so that's just an example of how you can journal. Um, I'm always journaling about my experiences. So yesterday I switched from ChatGPT over to Perplexity, and this morning I wanted to try something. I downloaded Comet, which is like a web browser, and I opened up my email, which I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. And I opened up an email and I asked the AI assistant to go through my emails and select a certain, you know, one from Robinhood, the investment app, emails from that to put it into a new folder, and it did that. It put all of them, and then I said, okay, now I want you to take the emails that are spammy or that are making some kind of offer, and delete those. And then it scanned all the emails, and it said, okay, these are making some kind of limited offer, so it deleted them. While I'm out here having breakfast, it was just working in the background, and I love using tools that are going to help me, right? And the same thing with that. I'm using Perplexity to learn Italian, and I made note that that there's a difference between, where is it? Did I make note of that? Um, oh no, I didn't document that, but I had an experience with Perplexity that I loved versus ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, whenever I asked it to show me something in Italian, it would give me the Italian word with an American accent. So I'm not learning how to speak it, I'm learning how it sounds from American uh, accent. But with Perplexity, it responded in Italian and how it sounds. So now I can repeat it, and I think it's just fantastic that we're able to use all this stuff in that way. Use all the tools that are available to you. So back to the main topic, which journaling system is the best? And that's the answer to that is the one that works best for you. In order for you to know which one works best for you, you're going to have to do some experimenting. Um, you're going to have to try different ones, or at the very least, look at a bunch of YouTube videos, right? Watch a bunch of YouTube videos on each style. So bullet journaling, see what people are saying about bullet journaling. Then you do, your homework. You watch videos on junk journaling, and, and you see what people are doing with junk journaling, and then you might say, okay, cool, that seems cool. And then you look at interstitial journaling, and then you make notes. You're like, oh, okay, cool. That's how people are using it for interstitial, for journaling. Oh, and then habit trackers. Oh, okay, cool. That's how people are using it for habit to track their habits, their sleep, and this is why they're doing it, right? And then at the end of all of those videos, you look back and you say, wait a minute, I could take I could take this one and use this. I could take that one and use this, and I could take this one and think of it like a buffet, right? All you can eat buffet. You don't have to just go to the buffet and eat pizza, and you can, if that's what you like. But you could say, "Hey, I want to sample pizza. I want to sample some, this pasta over here, and I want to sample these tacos." And man, I'm just making myself hungry now at this point. uh, Erica, please don't forget that I'm also a part of the kids that you feed. So if you're making some food there, um, but that's the idea here. What I want you to take from this conversation today is that journaling is personal. It's very personal, and you make it yours. You make it however you design it to fit your way of thinking, to design your needs, your personal needs. When I was back in 2012, I found myself um, needing to figure out who I was because I felt like I walked away and I lost myself. And so I spent about 6 months doing nothing but yoga, meditation, coming straight home, not hanging out with anybody, not doing anything but yoga and meditation, and also writing. A lot of writing, a lot of sketching, a lot of drawing, a lot of arts and crafts and all that. And in the middle of all that, I discovered a lot of important things about myself. And I decided that I'm more than just one thing. I'm many things. So how do I journal about everything that I am? I don't have to cancel or delete certain parts of myself in order to journal about that. I can include all of it into that one single journal. And um, I also started seeing something that I've talked about in my videos lately is inside world, outside world, where I noticed that there are things that are troubling me on the outside world, things that I'm engaging with on the outside world, and there's a lot of things in my inside world that I was ignoring. And journaling helped me figure all that out, sort all that out. And I divided myself into four parts. I divided myself into my emotions. That was one part. My mind. That was the second part. My spirit. That's my third. And my physical. That's my fourth. And each one of them, I notice, interacts with the other. And every decision that I make affects one or the other, if not all of them. And if one of them is suffering, the rest could suffer as well. What do I mean by that? If I don't sleep well, I physically, I'm suffering because I'm tired. I'm grumpy. That's partially emotional. And I notice that it pours out to the rest of me, and it might affect me mentally. It pours out to my spirit. It pours out to my emotions. It makes me grumpy, grouchy. I don't want to talk to these people. Mentally, I become foggy. I can't think clearly. How am I supposed to work? How am I supposed to interact with people if I can't even think clearly? I'm stuttering. I'm slow. All that. And if I don't eat well, same thing. Whatever I do in my body, I'm doing to the rest of the system. Um, so I started journaling each individual part. Sometimes one day, uh, something that I'm suffering through mentally stands out more, so I'll journal about that. And then I take the other three into consideration as well, and I'll say, hey, if I'm suffering this thing mentally, How might it affect me emotionally? And now I'm catching things before they happen. You follow? And and then if I'm suffering something spiritually, I might journal about that and say, okay, if I'm not okay spiritually speaking, um, how might that affect everything else? And I could journal and single out that one issue and keep journaling about it until I solve it, until I resolve it, until I say, "Oh, okay, I'm feeling moody because guess what? I haven't been sleeping well. Oh, I'm foggy because I haven't been feeding my mind well, or this hurts because I haven't done that." I can figure everything out. Everything is figure outable. But I can't figure out how to solve those issues if I don't know them. It's like imagine behind the wall of your house, something is breaking. How are you gonna know to fix it if you don't know that it's broken or that it's busted or that it needs your attention? How? You can't. You can't know. You can't possibly fix it if you don't know what's going on. So journaling is a way for you to map out your life, your day, your thinking, your emotions, your uh, principles, your character, who you want to be to yourself, to the world, to your parents, to your family. Who is it that you want to be? And that's how you map it out, and that's how you figure out who you are, what your limits are. There's no other way to figure it out unless you're documenting it and actively trying to figure out who you are, how you work. We don't come with instruction manuals. No one says, "Hey, here's the manual on how your brain thinks." Oh, here's the manual on how your body reacts to certain foods or how it reacts to sleep or any of that. And you could do some homework. You could research, but taking notes is really important. It's important to take notes so that you can really get to understand and know yourself and not just be blindly moving about the world, uh, you know, lashing out at your family or being a grumpy cashier at at your store or answering the calls all grumpy like in your call center. Like, come on, we all know. We all know. We've been there. You call a call center and somebody's grumpy and they don't even want to help you. You go to McDonald's, everybody looks at you and then they look away and they pretend you're not there so they don't have to help you. Right? Or you had a bad day and you don't know how to compartmentalize, so you go home and you start yelling at your partner or your kids. I mean, how is it their fault that you had a bad day and that you don't know how to manage your emotions or your thoughts? You can live a happy life. You can be happy, genuinely happy, fully happy and complete. But blaming other people for your unhappiness is not the way to go. You got to figure out why you're happy. You got to figure out why you're always in a bad mood. You got to figure out why other people seem happier than you, and why. Why are you jealous? Why do you go online and look at somebody else's life and say, "Man, only I had that life," or "Why do they get to be this or have that house or be married?" or all that. Why do they get to go on vacations? And then you're comparing and you're watching somebody else live their life while you're not living yours. I'm not here to judge. I'm not judging you. I'm just pointing things out that maybe you haven't considered, and that maybe you'll hear and you're like, wait a minute, I could take charge of my life in a way that can not just affect me in a positive way, but that my children can have a better parent. You care about your children, or maybe you don't have children, but you have family members, or you have friends, or you have someone who depends on you, a grandma, a grandpa, someone you're taking care of, and you want to be better. Why not? Why not? Even if you are like the greatest person to that person and you're fine, you can. There's always room for improvement. And if you think that you've already reached the highest, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And then not just that, let's just say that you just want to improve a skill. You play guitar and you want to be a better guitarist. You could journal about that. You can document, right? How do you think? Let me show you. How do you think this man became the genius who he was? He documented everything, everything, and everything that other people wouldn't even think to document. What was the purpose of him knowing the dimensions between this point and this point and that point and that point and the size of this leg in comparison to this leg, in comparison to his arm, or that, the dimensions of the face? What was the point of tracking that? He was a painter, but he wanted to make sure that the proportions were correct. And he took it further. He didn't want to just make someone smiling. He didn't just want to, make a smiling face or an expression. He wanted to understand the muscles, the bones, the muscles that controlled all the other muscles, so that when he tracks the face and he wants to make a smile, he knows that that muscle moves that lip, that upper lip, and so technically that muscle has to move up, which means that the muscles around the eyes change. And so in order for him to paint the smile accurately, he not only has to make the lips look like they're smiling, he has to make the eyes smile. He has to make sure that the skin, if you're seeing something that makes you happy, your skin changes color. There's all these little gradual, little tiny little things that happen, and he wanted to understand it all so that he could make the most accurate thing that he possibly could. He had to cut people open and see what was happening underneath in order for him to be able to do that accurately. Who is that dedicated to their craft? If you want to be a guitarist, you want to know your thing, or let's just, you want to be a woodworker, you want to know your thing exactly. You go, you cut, you experiment, you put things together, you test them out, and you write down, hey, I glued it, or I screwed it this way and it fell apart. What would happen if I glued it before I screwed it on? You glue it and you screw it on, and you say, okay, this was a result of that. But what would happen if I glued it and instead of using screws, I used nails? Okay, this is how it results. And then before you know it, you don't just know how to build something, you know how it works and what the best version of that would be. Because I could build a single house, and then you take a contractor and you have him build a doghouse. I promise you, his doghouse is going to be 100 times better, probably last longer than if I did it, because he knows what he's doing, I don't. He knows his tools, and I don't. He knows how material, and I don't. I might choose the wrong wood for it, and that might fall apart or 2, or a month, or a year even. His 10 years, because he knows exactly which wood to buy, because he knows how that wood works. He knows what material to make the roof so that it could withstand the climate, right? This might be overkill. You might think it's overkill. I'm talking about getting obsessed, being obsessed with what you're interested in, and not really documenting, of writing it and making your journals your own. Personalize your journals in that way. It's truly a beautiful thing to do, is to make your journals yours. You're like, well, who else's are they going to be? I mean, in the sense that it's personalized to you, right? It's like shoes. When you buy shoes, you wear them for the first time. Those shoes were just made in general. They're made to fit not your foot, unless you custom made them, but they're not made to fit your foot. They're made to fit a. You wear them, and you keep wearing them until what? Until you break them in, mold to your foot. Now they're yours. Now those shoes are yours, right? I could buy a journal, a notebook somewhere, and that journal was not made for me. That notebook was made for me specifically. No one said, "Oh, this is going to be Leo's. He's going to buy it on the 11th of January. He's going to go buy it." No, that was just a journal that someone made. But But if I'm making my own journals, that journal is mine. It's made for me. I made it to the size that I wanted because I could just trim the tips here and make this journal the size that I could just cut this out. I have this size journal. Oh, this is crooked, but it's okay. I don't mind. And then I could just call it a day. But I'm making it a specific size because it's my book that I'm going to carry it in. It needs this. It's mine. It's mine. You follow? You dig? Okay, I need to make sure that I'm not cutting this thing crooked. Anyway, I hope I'm not rambling at this point, but my whole point to this is I want you to find a journal that you enjoy making, a journal that you like, and I'm being lazy here. I'm using the other ebook to cut this when I should be measuring probably just to make it more precise and more accurate, more straight. But um, what I should do is put the back, align the back here, just make a tiny little cut right there so I know, and then try to straighten it out using using the grid, using this guideline, and using my ruler to kind of make it as straight as I possibly can using these as my guide. So again, what you're to take from this live session is look into all journaling styles, see why other people are journaling in that style or using that method. Ask yourself, is it something that I would like to apply to my life? And if it is, use it. Try it. Just say, hey, I'm gonna try that for a week. And then at the end of the week, you might say, hey, this is perfect for me. Moving forward with it. And you might also say, hey, I really don't have the time to be designing these intricate layout spreads. So this might not be for me. It might be a every once in a while thing, but no. Or hey, this system is too simple for me, or this system is too messy, or I can't figure it out because I don't think in that way. I think in pictures. So an art journal might be more for me, etc., etc. Cool, Amelia. Well, I think we'll just leave it at that. I made a couple of notebooks here, and my goal was to make some of these, talk to you all, and then have these ready to go, so that whenever I run out, boom, pick one, restock, date it, and maybe write the book number, and boom, move forward. Oh, I'm gonna be making one of these from maybe like an Eggo, or actually no, I have a SpongeBob box that I got from Burger King. It has too many weird cuts, so it might not be perfect for this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of those, glue them, or tape them somehow, and just make a custom one. I really don't know how I'm gonna do it. We're just gonna experiment together. So stay tuned for that. And then I've got some more Da Vinci style stuff coming up that I want to talk to you all about. Okay. So I appreciate you all so much. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join me here today. Thank you for the super chats and for the joining as a member. I'm gonna do my best to put more content on there so that to make it worth your while. I know that on Patreon I have book number 1 already in there, so for you to take a look at. So join us on Patreon and take a look at that notebook. I will be scanning this one maybe this weekend for sure, and then posting book 2 on there for you to see as well. All right, familia. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves and each other. Oh, what did I do? Oh, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay. Peace. Bye bye.